Hi y'all. So using the professional standards that we discussed in class, I actually want to apply that to this horse here. And if we're getting her ready for an in-hand halter show, there's a couple different things that we need to keep in mind. So the first thing is right now, as you can see, and I actually want to take a step back just so you can see, she is very sensitive to the flies. And so because of that, we kind of have to accommodate her. You might start to notice, I'm not sure if she'll do it right now, but she does stomp. She kicks. Her tail swats at the flies, things like that. She gets incredibly anxious when flies are near her. So as I mentioned, she's very sensitive to different things around her. With that being said, if we're getting her ready for a show in a professional setting, the best way that we can accommodate her is work with our veterinarian to see if she might need a sedative, a very mild sedative for that matter, if she is anxious, in a different space. Obviously right now she is in a round pen, and so with that said, she's in her natural home environment. She's not too incredibly anxious. And it's hard for me to demonstrate how she would be if we were in a different place because I don't have a local horse show going on. So just to kind of show the first thing that I would do, she is tied. She's got a halter and she's tied to the round pen so she can't, get anything within reach. And so I'm actually going to insert a couple of clips from my haltering video on a different horse just to kind of show how I would, accomplish that process and get her to where we are right now. After showing that, the next thing is up close, you can see she is dirty. Obviously, we don't want a horse going into a halter class dirty like that. And so one way to do that, brush them out or groom them. Another method we could use is to give them a bath. Giving horses a bath is another way to brighten up their skin, brighten up their coat. Another thing I would do is, because she has white socks, I actually dip this brush in some show sheen and I actually would just rub it down her legs. This would brighten up the whiteness. It's not gonna work very well right now because she hasn't had a bath beforehand to cleanse her skin or coat. With that said, if show sheen doesn't work, you can actually use white paint that's safe for horses. That's another way to brighten up these white markings to make it more distinct, make it clearer, and make it nicer rather than the yellow stains. So just to kind of demonstrate this process, it is kind of chilly out. It's the evening and I don't want to hose her whole body down, but just to kind of show the proper bathing process when you're showing horses, I always start at their legs. You don't want to startle them, and so I'll start at their legs and work my way up. Again, I'm not actually going to give her a full bath because it is kind of cold and I don't want her to freeze. But I'm just, if you were doing a regular bath, you would, hose them down completely. You're going to penetrate all the skin, all the hair. But again, I would start at the bottom. And this is what I'm going to focus on just to kind of show this specific process. I'm just going to focus on her legs. So this is the shampoo that we would use on their leg parts. So what I do is I use a brush and I actually put the soap on the brush first. So once I have all the soap on the brush that I'm using, I just scrub her legs. This is like a purple shampoo, so the idea is to get all the brassy tones out. It actually smells like blueberries, which is really cool. And I do the same thing with her front leg. Might need a little more shampoo. And I just use this on the white parts. I don't use it on the other areas. You can, but it's, I'm sure horse owners know it's a really expensive shampoo to be using on their whole body. So a lot of folks will just use it on their the white feet. And then you can use like mane and tail shampoo or other things for their whole body. Assuming that it's the next day and we are preparing Storm for an eventing class, we would polo wrap or bandage her legs. Now, in this particular clip, you can see that the quilted portion is actually too large for Storm, and so that could cause a safety concern because of her tendons and her ligaments. That could irritate them, inflame them, and further damage them. And so after applying that wrap, we would actually take the polo wrap and wrap everything together just to make sure that, whatever she's doing in that eventing class, she is taken care of and her tendons, ligaments, joints, everything like that is protected. So after applying polo wraps for an eventing course, at this point we'd actually fit a saddle to Storm. And to do this in a professional setting, I have an English saddle that would show this. However, it does not fit Storm. And so that's why I didn't officially tack her up, because I didn't want to harm her spine in any way. But as you can see, the saddle she has is a hunter jumper saddle. Underneath this, we would put a saddle pad, and I actually use a half pad for any of my horses that I'm doing eventing courses with, or just riding in general. And at that point, once those items are on, we will take a girth and put that on, making sure it's on nice and snug. What I do, and what anybody should do with professional horses, is actually walk them a couple of steps so they can exhale, because that will allow you to tighten the girth more. Some horses like to blow out their stomach. But after putting a saddle on the horse, at this point, we would put the bridle on her and we would get her ready for the eventing course. The next step would be, as I mentioned, to put the bridle on Storm. This particular bridle is a Western bridle. I don't have an English one for her that would fit properly. I only have a draft horse size. But the difference here would be that the English bridle would have a nose band, and so we would tighten that enough that our index finger and our pointer finger can fit in there horizontally, so it's not choking her. She can still open her mouth. She can still do everything normal that she needs to do. Once the bridle is put on, at this point, we would mount the horse and we would get ready for showing. So I felt it was necessary to post what it would look like if you were truly showing a horse. And so the one that you see in this picture is actually a lesson horse. You see that saddle pad, the half pad, the girth, proper footwear, things like that. In the next video, this is what you might do in a horse show if you were doing hunter jumper, things like that. You would, canter around the arena or do a lope. Things like other things include walking and trotting. And so I just felt that it was important for everyone to kind of see what that process would entail and what that would look like. As I mentioned, I wanted to find more photos from horse shows just so you could get an idea of what it actually looked like. And so in the first image, you can see a picture of Sycamore and myself. We are wearing show attire, so anything from those riding pants, the boots, the jacket, the helmet, everything that I'm wearing, that Sycamore is wearing, everything like that is what you would see in a show attire. And so that is what I was trying to display on Storm. Again, it is different just because of different settings. Now, Sycamore did not have any type of polo wraps on or anything. Later in the eventing course, he did, because he was doing jumps. At this point in the horse show, we were only doing a flat riding competition.